Think about this for a moment. You can hold a small battery in your hand and nothing happens. You can also touch the outside of your phone charger cable every day and you feel nothing. But touching exposed wires connected to the power grid can be dangerous and you can get an electric shock. And the most interesting thing is this. Sometimes after walking on a carpet, you touch a metal handle and you feel a small shock. In all of these examples, we are dealing with electricity. But the question is, why are they so different? Why does a small battery feel safe, while the electricity coming from the grid into our homes can be dangerous? And how can a tiny static shock sometimes have thousands of volts, but only hurt for a moment? The answer is one of the most important ideas in the world of electricity: voltage. Voltage is what gives electric charges a reason to move. We cannot see voltage directly, we only see what it does. We see its effect when a lamp turns on, when a phone starts charging, and when electricity flows through the electrical systems around us. So today, if you want to understand what voltage really is, why it matters, and how it works in a simple way, keep watching this video. By the end, you will understand why a small battery, the electricity in your home, and an industrial motor all use voltage. In the first video of this playlist, we talked about electricity. We saw that inside a wire, tiny electric charges can move through a complete circuit. But that brings us to the next big question. If electrons are already inside a wire, and if the circuit gives them a path, what actually makes them move? What gives them that push? That invisible push is what we call voltage. So let's start with the simple idea. Voltage is the push that makes electric charges move. But what do we really mean by push? Of course, voltage doesn't push like a hand pushing a box. It's an electrical push. To understand this better, let's compare it to something more familiar: water pressure. Think about a syringe. When you pull the plunger back, water moves into the syringe. Why does it happen? Because pulling the plunger creates a pressure difference. The pressure inside becomes lower than outside, so the outside pressure pushes water into the syringe. Now, if you push the plunger forward, the pressure inside becomes higher than outside, and the water moves out. So in both cases, the water moves because there is a difference in pressure. In a wire, electric charges behave in a similar way. They need a push to move in a useful direction. And that's where voltage comes in. Voltage is like that pressure difference. It creates the push that makes electric charges move. The higher the voltage, the stronger that push becomes. So now the next question is, what creates voltage? Where does this push come from? The simplest example is a battery. A battery has two terminals, a negative side and a positive side. The negative side is like the high pressure side in our syringe example. Electrons are more available on this side, and when a complete path is connected, they are pushed into the circuit. The positive side is like the low pressure side. It attracts electrons back from the circuit. This difference between these two sides is what creates the voltage. But just like the syringe needs an opening or water to flow, the battery also needs a complete path. If there is no complete path, the push is still there, but nothing useful happens. That's why another name for voltage is electric potential difference. Potential means the push is available even if nothing is moving yet. That's why a battery can have voltage while it is just sitting on the table. Once we connect the complete circuit, the electrons already inside the wires can start to move. From the push side, through the lamp, and back to the pull side. And that's how voltage brings the circuit to life. Now we know that a battery has two sides, a negative side and a positive side. But why can one side push electrons and the other side pull them? What creates this difference? To understand that, we need to look inside the battery in a very simple way. Inside the battery, there are different materials and chemicals. These materials do not trade electrons in the same way. One material has a stronger tendency to give up electrons, and another material has a stronger tendency to take them. But this separation does not happen by itself in a useful and continuous way. The chemical reactions inside the battery make it possible. Because of these reactions, electrons become available on one side of the battery, so that side becomes the negative terminal. The other side is ready to receive electrons, so it becomes the positive terminal. In simple words, one side can provide electrons more easily, and the other side can receive them. This separation creates the voltage of the battery. The battery uses chemical energy to keep this difference between its two terminals. As long as the chemical reactions can continue, the battery can maintain this push. The same idea exists in other voltage sources too. A battery created voltage with chemical reactions. A phone charger takes electricity from the power grid and converts it into a lower voltage for your phone. The grid can receive electricity from solar cells, wind turbines, or generators. Solar cells use light energy. Wind turbines and other generators use motion and magnetic field. Different methods, same goal. Create a difference between 2 points so charges have a reason to move. But if all voltage sources create this push, why are their voltage values so different? Why can a small battery have 1.5 or 9 volts while the electricity in our homes is around 220 volts? The reason is simple. Different devices need different levels of push. You can imagine this with two lamps. One lamp is designed for 220 volts and another small lamp is designed for 1.5 volts. If we connect the 220 volt lamp to a small battery, the push is much too weak. The lamp will not turn on, or it may only glow very weakly. And if we connect the small lamp to 220 volt, the push is far too strong. The lamp can burn out immediately, get damaged, or even break dangerously. The same idea applies to all electrical devices. A small flashlight only needs a small push, so a small battery is enough. But when we want to power something bigger, like a 220 volt lamp, a heater, or a washing machine, we need a stronger electrical system to deliver energy to that device. So before connecting any device, we should always check the manufacturer's label. It tells us which voltage the device was designed to work with. Using the wrong voltage source can cause the device to work incorrectly, get damaged, or become dangerous. So when you see a voltage value on a battery, a charger, or a power supply, it's not just a random number. It tells you how strong the electrical push created by that source is. You may also see voltage written as DC or AC. For example, 1.5 volt DC from a battery, 24 volt DC from a power supply, or 220 volt AC in homes. These are different types of voltage and we will explain them in a separate video. Another useful point is that with batteries we can see very clearly how this push can become stronger or stay the same depending on how we connect them. 1.4 volt battery gives a small push. If we connect two 1.4 volts battery in series, their voltages add together, so we get 3 volts, a stronger push. But if we connect two identical 1.5 volt batteries in parallel, the voltage stays 1.5 volts. The source may last longer, but the push does not become stronger. We will explain series and parallel connections in another video. Now let's go back to one of the questions from the beginning of the video. If static electricity can have thousands of volts, why is it usually only a small shock, while the electricity in our homes can be dangerous? To understand that, we need to look at one more important idea. Voltage alone is not the whole story. As we discussed in the first video, when you walk on a carpet, electrons can move from one material to another. Your body can become electrically charged. Then when you touch a metal handle, the charge suddenly jumps to balance the difference. But in this video, the important point is this: that a small static shock can have a very high voltage, sometimes thousands of volts. The push can be strong enough for charges to jump through a tiny gap of air. But if the voltage can be so high, why doesn't it usually injure us? The answer is that only a very small amount of electric charges is transferred between your body and the metal handle, and it happens for a very short moment. After that quick jump, the difference disappears. The push is gone almost immediately. On the other hand, the electricity in our home is connected to a strong source, the power grid. The grid can maintain the voltage and keep providing energy as long as there is a path. That is why touching exposed live wires can be dangerous. So the danger is not only the voltage. The danger is also that the source can keep pushing electric charges through the path for a longer time. We will talk more about the movement of electric charges in the next video when we explain electric current. But for now, the main idea stays the same. Voltage is the push between 2 points. And this last part is very important, between 2 points. Voltage is always about a difference. You cannot really say point A has a voltage. Point A has voltage without comparing it to another point. It's like the pressure difference. You always need two places to compare. For example, if we take a battery and measure between the positive terminal and the negative terminal, we measure it 1.5 volts or 9 or 12 volts, depending on the battery. The volt is the unit of voltage, and we write it with the letter V. It is named after Alessandro Volta, the scientist who invented the voltaic pile, one of the first electric batteries. But if we put both measuring probes on the same side of the battery, we read 0 volts, because there is no difference between these 2 points. In other words, if we measure between 2 points that are electrically the same, there is no push between them, so the voltage is 0. This is why a multimeter always has 2 probes. Alright, in this video we learned that voltage is the push that can make electric charges move. A battery creates voltage using chemical reactions, while devices like phone chargers create lower voltage from the electricity supplied by the power grid. We also saw that different electrical devices need different amounts of voltage. A small battery, a phone charger, the electricity in our homes, and an industrial motor all use voltage, but each one needs the right level of push for its job. And now you also know that voltage alone is not the full story. The amount of charge that moves, how long the movement continues, the path it takes, and the source behind it are also very important. We will talk about these ideas in the next videos, especially when we explain electric currents. So if you want to learn more about the world of electricity, watch the next videos in this playlist. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.